We want to take you now to Ellington Field Joint Reserve Base. That's in Houston. It's where the president is about to leave Texas for Louisiana. He had a long day meeting with evacuees, people at relief centers, victims of Hurricane Harvey. He was at a church earlier, which was a distribution center. There were volunteers, and there were also people in need of aid who were pulling up in their cars. He was loading them up with water, and earlier he'd actually handed out meals alongside the Red Cross, hot dogs and potato chips, which he said looked very good. And at one point he was questioned by a man in the crowd who said that members who were with him, people who were with him, had been denied, I believe it was FEMA assistance is what he referred to as. And the president said, "Where are they? Bring them over." And he said they're all the way in the back. I don't think anything came of that interaction, but the president did interact with that person. You never know how these events can turn out, especially the unpredictability of who you might come into contact with, as was the case earlier. And when he was at the First Church in Pearland, Texas, this, again, as I mentioned, was the distribution center for Hurricane Harvey relief efforts, spoke to the crowd for a bit, said it's been an incredible few days, but he also noted that we have a long way to go. And at one point he did congratulate the governor of Texas for his work, something that he was a little hesitant to do when he toured the areas, when he touched down to Texas on Tuesday. He said, "We're not going to thank everyone yet and say we've done a great job, but we do want this to be looked at 5 years from now as that they did it well and they did it right." And he wanted to be able to set an example. He also praised Senator Ted Cruz, a man who's been somewhat of a nemesis for him during his political campaign trail. He praised him for his hard work as well as the other members of his cabinet. Why don't we listen?
It's really bumpy.
You were flying at how much?
60-mile-an-hour winds.
So what can a chopper like that handle?
A lot more than that.
It can handle
We're the U.S.
more.
Coast Guard.
So you can go more than the 60 or 70.
For sure. We'll go out in anything, sir.
It's an honor to meet you, sir.
Better you than me, fella. Have a good time. I'm proud of you, man. That's great. Yeah.
There you go. You got it.
Thank you. Good job. He didn't show. Pleasure to meet you. Great job. A lot of people you saved, huh? Can I get a picture? Thank you.
There you go. We're geniuses. I saved 6 people and did something.
If you need to go around and
How many people? Thank you so much. $33. All children.
You got it? I was like, it's going to be like an awkward video.
I love this country. I love everything. You're amazing. Thank you. Congratulations. I don't think there's too many here that did. I don't think there's too many
And then you want to get a picture in there? Probably not.
Can you
send that to me?
Sir, how you doing? Our crew just picked them up.
When you get a chance, the African-American woman over there, Sheila Jackson Lee, commands the sea. You keep working the line.
You guys know General Kelly, right?
That's what I have, like, my area responsibility with Lake Charles.
Every time the password changes, you have to
If you're joining us right now, you're looking at images from Ellington Field in Houston, Texas. The president is about to head to Louisiana, but he's meeting with members right there with the U.S. Coast Guard. He was asking them how fast they could go, and he was thanking them for their service during Hurricane Harvey and the aftermath. He spent his day meeting with folks, evacuees, many people pulling out their iPhones, taking selfies, and of course the president understanding and obliging. He handed out food packets, little lunch boxes with the Red Cross, I believe were hot dogs and potato chips. And at one point he put on a pair of latex gloves and said his hands were too big, poking fun at the fact that sometimes he's ridiculed for being sensitive about the size of his hands. But in all of this, the president has tried to play the role of consoler-in-chief, something he was criticized for when he went on Tuesday to the region and didn't manage to meet with anybody. That wasn't the White House plan. He instead met with officials on the ground who are dealing with the disaster relief and officials as well in office. He's also going to meet when he heads to Louisiana with a delegation, congressional delegation from this area. Obviously, Louisiana knows all too well from Hurricane Katrina the aftermath and the toll it takes to rebuild and bring your community together. First Lady Melania Trump also joining him. You see her there with the ponytail and the green hat, also comforting and speaking to some of the children. At one point, the president was playing with some sitting down next to a boy who was playing with some trucks, asking him what he was building, trying to connect with the children on the ground as well. A lot of thank yous from people thanking the president for coming, and a lot of people excited that the president came, in fact, to this relief effort. Let's listen in as the president says goodbye.
Guys, start to move towards me.
Aircraft in the middle here. Right there.
Just stop.
Your total confidence in it? That's really, but that's really strong stuff. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Come on, get over here for a minute. President, thank you very much. A lot of people. So how many people did the Coast Guard say?
About 11,000, sir. Thanks again. 11,000.
Has anyone seen that? I gave the commencement speech at the Coast Guard Academy. So the number seems to be about 11,000. President. Thank you very much. It's only 11,000. Yes, please, ma'am. I think I'm going to do that.
I'm hiding behind my arms, sir.
Thank you, man.
President.
Thank you, sir. Fantastic. Sir, appreciate your leadership, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir.
President, I have one for you. Appreciate you coming out.
Thank you for being here, man. Mr. President, you're doing all, hey, you soldiers love you. What you do, and I love them. Really do. And I love them. Picture with you right here? Yeah, let's go. Come on over here. Let's go. Stay right there, fellas. He's going to charge you $5,000. He's going to charge you? Thank you. Sir. Come on, fellas. I got a hat for you. It's right there. We've got the right color, stitchy in uniform. Yeah. All right. So I want to thank everybody, and we have Army, we have everybody here, but I have to say, even you guys have to admit, I hear the Coast Guard saved 11,000 people. 11, think of it, almost 11,000 people by going into winds that the media would not go into. They will not go into those winds. Unless it's a really good story, in which case they will. Okay. But I want to congratulate everybody. I want to congratulate the Coast Guard for what you've done. Incredible. Man, incredible. And I gave the commencement speech this year at the Coast Guard Academy, and they're going to come out and compete with you guys now pretty soon. You know that, right? But they've got a lot to compete with. So I want to congratulate you guys, the Army guys. This has been, I mean, it's brutal what's been up there, but you have done so much for the services and for the respect, and the whole world is watching. The whole world is watching. So I want to thank you, and I want to thank, look at all these. Thank you, fellas. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. You have done so much for the prestige of the services and the Coast Guard and what you've done. Again, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We're going to Louisiana now. Sir. And they're in pretty good shape, too. They're in pretty good shape. We have it going. We're just with the governor. And this is going very well. But you have done something really special. Thank you.
National Guard,
thank you very much. It's a pleasure meeting you. Thank you. It's an honor. Thank you. We'll 1,000%. We'll give you a nice new equipment too, by the way. You notice the equipment's getting better and better every month, right? Yes, sir. We're getting you the new stuff. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Take care.
We've been watching President Trump saying goodbye on the tarmac there at Houston's Ellington field. He was meeting with members of congressional members, Sheila Jackson Lee there. He was also joined by his chief of staff, General Kelly. The president now heads to Louisiana, where he will also meet with more members of Congress. We're going to continue to monitor the president's movements and bring it to you live just as soon as he touches down there in Louisiana.